I never know what I got in that damn shit. I found it's a dual bander, tones, everything on it. So it's got DTMF pad on it, and so it's ready to go for that. So I won't put an antenna up. I'll just I got a dummy load here. I'll put it in dummy load and put it on the lowest wattage setting, and it should be good. But any case, yeah, no, I hear you. I know you've been fooling with that voice meter potato. Well, the guys set them up. I mean, I don't know how you set it up now, but I mean, you sound great. Doug sounds real nice. Good. That voice meter potato, I'll tell you, I really was into that. But then, I got that damn Focusrite. Man, nothing but RF City, RF. And it's sitting on the bench there, too, just thrown aside. But I got to listen to you more, and see, because they do sound good. KF2, Goofy Guy, Doug, pick it up, laddie.
A1 GMM.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Rich, I've told you this before. You sound fantastic. I don't think you have anything to gain by going that route. Right now, I'm not using voice meter potato. I'm using Reaper. And, darn, the phone keeps ringing. Hold on. I'll call you back. That was the YL upstairs. You sound really good, Rich. I don't think you have anything to be gained by going to anything like this. I went to Reaper only because I was experimenting, and the problem I found with voice meter potatoes, it sounds fantastic, but you wind up with all of these other inputs and outputs, and they interfere with my setup, the way I run the computer, because there's too many ins and outs. So I'm no longer using that. I'm using Reaper. I got the ASIO driver to work. I don't have any, or I have very, very little delay now in my transmitter. I figured out how to get the ASIO driver to work, and I'm happy with this for now. Oh, by the way, hold on one second. Darn it. Just give me a second here. I just want to do something for your listening pleasure. Okay.
Here we go. Okay. So, here we go. I think you remember this, Rich, when I had this on. I was playing around with this for a while. So
let me take that off. That's ridiculous. So anyway, with that, let me send it over to Doug. Oh, by the way, I didn't ID myself. KF2GG and KB2UKA. This is WB2RON. Doug, go ahead, pick it up.
WB2RON, KB2UKA. Man, I love the voice changer. That thing's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. Richie, let me tell you my audio story, Richie. Okay, 5 years ago, let's just say about 5 years ago, I get back into the hobby. Okay, and
all right. Okay, we're gonna listen to the idiots on yeah, this is not my preferred brightness there, Dave. It's normally much more subdued. But let me stop this. Come over here. So, anyways, it is coming up to 5:31, so I figured I'd start it a little early, let things populate, which I know they won't, but Captain Obvious here. And we'll throw some ideas, something I've been thinking about for a really long time. Not really long, but like probably a couple of years. And I was just talking to Dave about an M6ENS before. And I thought, this is something, I've never seen this thrown out there yet. So if you look at the advancements, right, we were talking about the advancements in technology in the past 10 years in amateur radio. It's pretty cool. It's quite stunning. So, the question I always ask myself is, where do I go from here? A better question is, where do we go from here? What can be done which will take current technology and accelerate it or move it into the next dimension, right? So I'm going to touch on just one thing. It can be applied to the TX and the RX side, these transceivers, both. But so I'm going to minimize this just as a, you don't need to face as a visual reference. Where's my OBS disappeared? Yeah, I got to get some pictures up here, Dave. Let's get over to so you think of all this technology, right? And what it can do if you use it to its true full potential. Well, it's still very limited when you think about it. So if you were to take let's just stay in the virtual realm, right? With SDRs, it's not specifically limited to SDR technology. You can do a lot of things in the virtual realm with conventional transceivers using a USB connection to your computer. We all know that. If you follow the channel, you know that. So what we were talking about, more importantly, what I was been thinking for, easily the past couple of years, is where do we go from here and how can we go? What's the next step, right? What's the next step? So you're looking at, basically SDR software. Screen. I use audio processing built into the SDR software to enhance what's coming out of the rack. Because I just can't get it to sound the way I want it to sound with the rack alone, right? So a lot of people have started doing this. I am not the originator of this, of anything, but looking at and that's for the TX side. So looking at the RX side, right? And I'm not blowing smoke. The RX system that I run eats pretty much everything else for lunch. Thetis can't touch it. A $12,000 7851 can't touch it. No other conventional transceiver can touch it. And I've been thinking, why don't they put this technology into an amateur radio transceiver? I'm gonna throw there's going to be some serious spitballs coming here. Because I don't know, I'm not criticizing manufacturers or developers at all. Because I'm ignorant and I have no idea how to do it. So what we all do right now, right, is we run standalone systems which are basically separate from the rig control software that we're running, be it some kind of SDR software or whatever, right? So if I come over here, I'm going to get rid of the chat for a second. Hey, what's there, Elmer? And you look at a very basic software setup. This is for the RX side. This is the RX DAP, I call it. Receive digital audio processing. It's done in the digital domain, and it processes the audio. Okay, this is on the receive side of the radio. And this is, like I said, can be applied to the TX side as well. A lot of us are doing this. Not so much the RX side. The RX side is more important to me than the TX side. Way more important. If I were to live without one thing, I would plug a fist mic into the front of the radio and I would run the RxDAP if I had to choose between the two. No question. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Wow, I don't know where that came from. Got a tickle in the big nose here. Gonna do it again. Good grief. Oh. Anyways. So we run standalone systems, like you could run a DAW or VST host, right? Well, how cool would it be to have software How cool would it be to have software, like let's say your SDR software, right? And have a built-in VST host where you could choose to use your own plugins of your choice in the audio processing chain, in the software. Or if that's not possible, how about a standalone application like for example, Expert, they have nothing to do with SDC Client, but SDC Client runs seamlessly with the Expert software. Now it's a paid app, which is garbage as far as I'm concerned. That's a bunch of bullcrap. Didn't start off that way, but it is now. So, yeah, but I got to hack around. How cool would it be to have, if, like, let's say the developers of this SDR software, right, regardless of what it is, like, let's say whoever's working on Thetis or Expert or SDR Console or whatever, how cool would it be to have either a piece of software that was intimately connected, designed to run with said SDR software, that would act like not so much a DAW, but a VST host, or a system that would employ an AI noise reduction system. So right here is the Supertone Clear. It's $100 for this plugin. It's 0 artifacts. And it's so good. Now, you guys will probably say, well, it's not that good. It does this. I was explaining to Dave that it's so good. I'll tell you where I'm going with this. It's so good that if somebody has really, really crap audio, let's say it's like super pinched. I've had this happen multiple times in the past few weeks, where it hears their audio and it's so freaking bad that it actually thinks it's noise. And it blows it out. It's pretty funny. So, and I'm telling you, it's that bad. It kind of chops in and out. It's looking at it and going, that's pretty crappy. So I'm going to get rid of that. So why can't they put just a simple plugin or an algorithm like this into the software? Or if they can't do that, why don't they create a paired program which integrates seamlessly with their software? You light it up and it handles all of the audio processing directly connected to doesn't run through the LAN. You know what I mean? You don't have to have it running through all this crap. It's just a seamless integration piece of software that would run in tandem. And I'm not talking like a DAW or a VST host or any kind of VST host or something, which is a standalone program. I'm talking about something like SDC Client, which is integrated. It's directly tied to, runs through a TCI interface. Can you imagine how that would change things? Think about that for a second. That would be absolutely amazing. So you could run a plugin of your choice. And I'm not talking just RX, I'm talking TX as well. So you could run a series of TX plugins integrated in the software that's integrated with the SDR software you're running. Your choice. Run whatever you want. Even drag and drop. You drag them in, put them in the order that you would like, and you're off and running. You don't have to download stupid Cakewalk or VST Host or anything. It all comes in with the package. If you're into the RX side of the coin like I am, that would be truly amazing. Excuse me, because I got gum in my mouth. I shouldn't be chewing gum while I'm talking into the microphone. You'll probably hear me smacking. I'm so sorry about that. Just realized. Issue here. Should I take the gum and stick it under the desk like I used to in high school? I'm going to do that. You know what I did? I stuck it on the freaking tuner, the manual tuner, because it's a piece of crap. There you go. So, don't ask me how you could do that. I'm not a code writer. But come on, guys, there's got to be a way to do that. I mean, look, right? You've got right here, you've got the audio processing functions right here in the Expert software. You got an RX EQ, and in the TX side, you got a DC block, rotator, preprocessor, filters. Powerful tool. I use these exclusively. And the filters are not just low pass, high pass. I mean, you can choose notch, peak, high shelf, low shelf. You freaking name it. You got a built-in noise gate, compressor, limiter, equalizer, AGC control if you choose to use that, the clipper function. Then you can save your profiles. So that is basically a series. I know it's not really, but it's a series of plugins, pre-loaded plugins in there that you have limited control over, right? Why couldn't you just gut that? And I'm ignorant. Keep in mind, this is ignorance talking. But it makes sense to me. Why couldn't you just leave that blank and have all those tabs? Let's say you have, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tabs, right? 10 tabs, excluding the profile tab where you save everything. Why couldn't you have 10 available slots for plugins where you import them? Just like you do a background. The background image you see on the screen. You just click on the tab. It has an import function. You click on it, and you go and you import the plugin, right? How freaking insane would that be? So, you know, when you're talking about a plugin like this one, Supertone Clear, yeah, it's $100. But keep in mind, that $100 plugin will smoke a $3,000 to $4,000, $5,000 Anon, and it will smoke a $12,000 7851 noise reduction. Absolutely eat it for lunch, chew it up, and spit it out. You guys have heard it. $100. Now, you don't even have to use paid plugins. There's plenty of plugins out there, but this is like one of the best ones on the planet right now. One of the best ones. And that, to me, is a bargain because you're getting a noise reduction system that is far superior than anything available in ham radio, on any ham radio transceiver. The problem with most noise reductions, all noise reductions, there's several problems with them, right? There's several problems with them. One is that oftentimes they act like a filter where all they do is they roll off the high end, creating the illusion that it's reducing noise. It's not reducing noise. It's the way the 7300 works. It's a joke. It doesn't work. So what you end up with is a muddy sound. It's crap. And noise is still coming through. If you crush it all the way, you can't even hardly understand what they're saying. Most noise reductions are like that. Then you have like other noise reduction systems, which are like, I've heard some of the ASUs. If you turn it up too much, and I've seen people comment on this on forums, it sounds like they're talking in a tunnel or a cavern. Weird, right? And then you have other ones like the NR2 on Thetis. I know because I had an Anon. Then you have those which they still have, they're probably best in class along with the AGCT. I've said that a million times. Nothing can touch that thing from a native standpoint, but it could be a lot better. This thing smokes that thing. No contest. There's always a little artifacting there. You get this watery, this weird sound effect. There's ways to go in and mitigate that in the settings area in Thetis, but it's the one area that is, to me, just boggles my brain. Why nobody is pursuing that? Because to me, ease of listening. I mean, you were listening to these guys before I actually came in for a couple minutes there. It's ridiculous. No noise. Doesn't do anything to the audio. It's pristine. Doesn't shave off the top end. For $100. I'm not trying to sell it. Right? I ain't selling. I'm just trying to tie this all together. So this was like something I've been thinking about for a couple of years, So that's kind of what I'm watching for. It would have to be built into the software. It can't add any additional latency. In other words, it needs to be tied directly, communicating with the software itself, not running completely standalone or separate. Where you have USB cables involved and you have all this crap. Everything is non-zero latency. There's always latency there, but there's a difference between perceptible latency and imperceptible latency. So imperceptible latency is still non-zero latency. There is a little bit of latency there. When you're dealing with computers and stuff, there's no such thing as non-zero latency or zero latency. It's always non-zero, just to clarify. So people don't jump on my case as if I care. So let me get over to the chat. Thoughts? I'm going to leave the comments open. What would you guys like to see? That's something I would love to see, man. It doesn't matter whether it's plugins. If they could come up with an AI algorithm that would run in the software that's as good as that, I'd buy it. I'd buy that radio in a heartbeat. I would buy that radio because that's really the catch for me. Everybody's like, oh, you sold this or whatever, and what are you going to get in exchange? I say, I really don't know. Because this freaking thing is so good. It's insane. Any radio I buy, I'm going to run the same system on any radio I buy. So what's the point of going to a new radio? What's the point? What am I going to go out and spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a radio and end up having to run this stuff as well? Why? What is the sanity in that? Are there better radios out there than what? Heck yeah, there are. But there aren't better noise reductions. I can prove that. Easily. Handily. Over fist. So, when you could take a piece of crap boat anchor and make it sound better than a $12,000 radio on receive, that's pretty freaking terrifying if you think about it. Here's something I'm going to end with, and then I'm going to check the chat. You guys throw your comments in. You can insult me. I don't care. I don't give a flying at this point. Speak your mind, because that's what I do. But if you say something ridiculous, I'm going to give it back to you. Just warn you. Because I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. I appreciate the friends I have, but I'm not here to make. So, I'm just telling it like it is, how I see it. Prove me wrong. There's a challenge for you. I don't know. The wife is home. The dog is going ballistic upstairs, so this is perfect timing. So, anyways, yeah, leave a comment if you have an idea. Maybe I'm sure I'm missing something. Probably missing a lot. But I figured I'd throw that out there. How amazing would that? Oh, that's what I was going to mention. So I was listening a few years ago, and I may have mentioned this, I don't know, back then, a few years ago. I was listening to a guy he bought an Anon. He sold it immediately. He was an old school ham. Now, picture being in ham radio for like, let's say 30, 40, 50 years on some form of radio communications. He said it was so quiet, it was unnerving, and he couldn't stand it, so he sold it. I was like, what? What? You don't want that? There are some people that are so used to hearing the crap, the hash and trash, the constant snap, crackle, pop on the bands while they're trying to copy a person they're talking to. They're used to it, and they don't even know what to do when everything goes like these guys, people I talk to, it's like they're sitting right in front of me in a padded room. That's what it sounds like in here. And this is pseudo padded, but it sounds like they're literally sitting in front of me. There's no noise. I mean, there's more noise in this house. I got a fan running. So I hear the fan, which you can barely hear on the computer and the power supply. It's just this very slight, very, very, very slight. I can hear it. That's the only thing I hear. That's it. All I hear is them. No noise, no nothing. So I can imagine, old hats having a freaking conniption fit when everything goes quiet. Crazy, right? You wouldn't think so. And I think that's the reason why people really don't pay attention. Why people live with that crap, I don't know. Good on you. You want to listen to that, go for it. So let me get over to the chat. I'm done. I'm going to get upstairs. I'm sure there's nothing in here. Oh, there's a few stuff in here. Let me go all the way back to the beginning. It's a good thing not many people check in on these streams because I would have a meltdown if I had to go through all this stuff. Okay. Trying to explain it when a lot of guys just show you rather than explain it. Thanks, Elmer. Andy, what's up, dude? Yeah, RX. Now that's cat's meow. I know. It's not fatiguing. My glasses on. Under certain band conditions, going direct is better than doing process audio. Depends on what. I don't know what you're talking about there, Elmer, whether it's TX or RX. I feel older than you are, Elmer. Eduardo. Yeah, right? If they did, they could not sell you any more rigs, right? Hi, all. Hey, Paul. No, some of them are not, Elmer. I'm 99% sure the people who are writing the expert software for Sun, which is pretty much defunct, I think, at this point, they're not even hams, which explains a whole lot. I've been told that by what I consider a credible source who knows them. They're not even ham radio operators. 5 TS 570. Link to the program. I'll put that in there, Jose. Let me see if I can get a link to that, and I'll put it in the description once it goes up. Okay. Hey, Chris. The problem with RM noise is there's a huge amount of latency, and it's over the internet. I wanted something standalone, and this is more adjustable. Let's see. Yeah, I had an Elan and an Anon, so I'm very familiar with those radios. Intimately familiar. This thing smokes anything the Anon has. Humiliates it. Not to mention, it'll take an well, you guys have seen it. It'll take an S0 signal on the ICOM and make it sound like it's 20 over with zero noise. An Anon can't do that, Johnson. Ain't going to happen. You got to crack the AGCT open. Yeah, it's only money, exactly. I'm going to show you. So the software, let me move this over to the other screen. I'm going to minimize this. I want to move this over there too. So the software I am using is, this is VST Host, free program. I run a BritPresser. It's all on the website that's linked in my QRZ page. Go to my QRZ page. Everything is explained. Tremendous number of videos I've done on this stuff. And it is, there is a playlist. So you can go through all the videos, how to configure it, how to set it up. Everything is condensed down now. The only thing I use is the BritPresser, which is I use as a hard limiter on strong stations, allowing the weaker stations to come through. All right, so instead of having to sit there and ride your gain or your volume knob, this smashes everything. So it'll crush like a 20, 30, 40 over station, limit it, and yet your S5 to S9 station will come through at the same volume level. This is a denoiser. This is I think it's $30. You don't have to use this. You can use just the Supertone Clear or the free version of the denoiser. I just use the denoiser because I paid for it. Also, the other thing this does is this thing not completely, but it comes damn close to knocking down every single static crash. All you'll hear on a 10 over static crash is like a tsk. That's it. Tsk. Very, very slight. It's amazing. Guys say, oh, well, I hear them all the time. I can't hear you because the noise floor is so high and the freaking static crashing is so bad. I'm like, well, there's a solution to that, folks. You will copy a station in the noise floor with this. No problem. No problem. If you can't, it's because you set it up wrong. Configured it wrong. So this is a VST host program. Supertone Clear is a paid app. That's $100. Denoiser Pro, I think, is like $30 or something like that. Don't need to use a Pro. You can use a free version. Works good. I actually run this out of auto. If I'm on AM, I actually uncheck the auto and fine tune, which is basically, this is the free one. This is the way the free one works. Right? So, and then the BritPresser. So yeah. Let me go back. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Aristides Flores. How you doing? Dan, Supertone Clear. Supertone Clear. I'll put the link in the description. Javier, is that how you say that? From Costa Rica. How's it going, man? Hear you guys all the time in here, blowing my doors in. Good signals from Costa Rica. Okay. Oh. I got a comment on that. You noticed it. Elmer, you don't miss much. You're the first person that mentioned that. It sort of works. It doesn't really work that good. I got to modify it. You know what this is? This pop filter, you guys are going to love this crap. This is my top hat. This is the condom. This is my condiment for the microphone. It's a pair of black nylons, double layer, taken out of my wife's drawer that had a run in them. I said, can I use these? She says, yep, they're ruined. I said, what do you keep them for? Pack rats we are. So I took them. I took a piece of PVC. I think it's 1 inch or 1.5 inch. And I sliced it. So the PVC, right, the tube, I sliced it through this way, a very thin piece. It's like that wide, and then I cut it. So it's like this. It was a ring, and I sliced through it. So it's springy. And then I took the nylons and wrapped the nylon over it, and it's spring-loaded, so it goes onto the end of the microphone. Pretty funny, right? Oh, so you missed it. Okay. I'll see you later, Elmer, if you're still there. But you guys, I figured you'd get a good kick out of that. Let's see, 20 channel EQ on DX and DX. Do you need this crap? No. Will you work the world without it? Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I was going to save it for a short. It ain't the rig or the tech, it's the operator. That's what it comes down to. You can take a 50-year-old boat anchor and work more people on that thing than a guy running a $12,000 ICOM who has no idea what he's doing with a crap antenna. Yep. Very kinky. Anyways, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Food for thought, right? That's kind of what I'm watching for. These radios that are coming out, I'm like, why aren't you making an effort? ICOM's worthless. They'll never do anything with the TX side because they won't refuse to open up the bandwidth beyond 2.9 kilohertz. That's why I will never buy another ICOM. Ever. I say that. Watch next week. I'll have a 7610 sitting here. But they never will. They're focused on crap. What's the difference? All right. Look at this. What's the difference between a 30-year-old radio and the most modern technology? Break it down. Break it down. I'll give you a perfect example. This is about, I don't know how many years ago this was, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I talked to a guy on an old Drake. This thing was like, I don't know, 40 or 50 years old. I was telling Dave this. An old Drake. We live in a freaking fantasy land, you guys. Fantasy land. They are pushing this crap on us. I'm just telling you, they're pushing garbage on us. I'm getting pissed over this. It makes me angry. This is the reason why. I'd worked this guy. It was on 40 meters. He was running an old Drake. Had to be 40 years old at least. This thing, an old boat anchor. Got it all back up and running. Smart guy. Knew what he was doing. The audio on that thing was as good as any modern transceiver. It was cleaner than all of the modern transceivers outside of a non-running pure signal and a sun on a valve amplifier. Virtually no difference between those two radios if you're on a valve amplifier. Right? Amazing audio. Incredibly clean. Here's the kicker. The thing's so freaking old. And I got an SDR, and he was exactly on frequency. Perfect. Thing's 40 or 50 years old. What the frick is the difference between that and what we're running, what we're playing with? Nothing. Not a freaking thing. Gloves come off. Let's be honest. All right? This is nothing but a race for technology. It's called what? See this? What's that? My antenna's bigger. You know what that is? My radio's bigger. It's better. It's antenna envy and transceiver envy. That's all it comes down to. It's exciting. I know. I've got it. I can say it. All I can tell you is I don't admire anyone running this technology, including myself. What I do admire is someone like that guy, and I wish I knew his call sign. That was the most incredible display of operational skill that I have ever seen to this day. Out of, I don't know how many stations I have heard, I've worked over 10,000 in the log. And I don't know how many I listened to, 100,000 people I've heard on the air. And I have a spectrum right there. I can see what's going on. I know whether they're off frequency. I've seen modern radios off frequency. I see it all the time. Freaking hilarious. I'm like, what the heck is that guy running? And then he says it, and don't ask me what it is. I'm like, oh my God, the thing's off frequency. This guy's running a 40, 50-year-old Drake, and it's bang on frequency, and it sounds better than 90% of the friggin' modern technology radios out there. It actually blew me away. I refuse to accept the fact that he was on that radio. Yeah, there you go. I'm done. That's my soapbox, and I'm jumping off because my butt hurts. Yeah, I know, right? The 7760, they'll never do it, Dan. They'll never do it because they're a bunch of asshats. They're a bunch of turds. 7200 is nice. Almost bought one, Andy. That's a good radio, and nobody gives it any attention. Yeah. But it's fun to play with this new technology, right? But like I said, it ain't the radio, it's the operator. See you guys later. Have a good evening. Captain Obvious. Owen.